Il a aussi insulté tous les Africains.
Je crois qu'on a oublié de nous dire merci. C'est pas grave, ça viendra avec le temps.
Il y a une partie qui a retenu mon attention, là où il parlait d'ingratitude.
L'ingratitude, je suis bien placé pour le savoir, c'est une maladie non transmissible à l'homme.
Lui, il est humain, notre ingratitude n'est pas transmissible à lui. Voilà comment ce monsieur voit l'Afrique, voit les Africains. Nous ne sommes pas des humains à ses yeux. Je pense que s'il n'est pas athée et qu'il prie, à chaque matin qu'il se réveille et qu'il prie, il devrait aussi prier les Africains. Parce que c'est grâce à nos ancêtres qu'il existe aujourd'hui une France. Il devrait nous prier.
Captain Ibrahim Traore was angry, and what he did haunted the Western mining companies. At precisely 6 a.m., armored convoys rolled into Ouagadougou. Within minutes, the doors of 7 luxury hotels were forced open. Foreign mining executives, men who had long believed themselves untouchable, were dragged from their suites in handcuffs. One was caught at the airport beside his waiting jet. Another was found in a conference room, laptop still open as he attempted to siphon funds offshore. By sunrise, whispers became headlines. Burkina Faso had arrested the CEOs of some of the world's most powerful mining corporations. The scene, if true, marks a rupture in history. A small African nation daring to bring billionaires to justice on its own soil. Yet the fog of information raises a critical question. What really happened that morning? In this video, let's find out. It is often said that revolutions are not born from silence but from insult. An insult cuts deeper than statistics, contracts, or economic charts because it hits the soul. For Africa, Emmanuel Macron's comments earlier this year carried precisely that sting. To many, the French president's remarks were dismissive, even contemptuous, painting Africans as dependents ungrateful for French involvement in the Sahel. Captain Ibrahim Traore, the young leader of Burkina Faso, could not stay silent on that. He accused Macron of insulting the dignity of an entire continent, saying, "In his eyes, we are not human." Those words landed with the weight of centuries. To Traore, they were not a mere diplomatic slight, but a mirror reflecting half a millennium of exploitation. Centuries during which Africa's resources were pulled from its soil. At the same time, its people remained mired in poverty. Macron's tone was not new. It was, in Traore's view, the continuation of a colonial mindset dressed in modern rhetoric. And it was precisely because the insult seemed to encapsulate this long history of disdain that the reaction was not just rhetorical fury. It was political fire. From that moment, Burkina Faso ceased signaling incremental reform. It began signaling confrontation. Investors, diplomats, and analysts who had once believed they understood the rules of engagement with West African states began to feel uneasy. Traore's words were more than a verbal rebuke. They were a declaration that Africa's patience had run dry, and that the rules of exploitation, long accepted with resignation, were now under active threat. Few imagined that this rhetorical blaze could result in the kind of dawn raids being whispered about today. When the rumors broke, they sounded like the plot of a thriller. At exactly 6 a.m. in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's special forces fanned out across the capital. Their targets were not militants, not political opponents, but executives in pressed suits, foreign mining bosses who had long lived in luxury while overseeing the extraction of Burkina Faso's gold. At the 5-star Silmande Hotel, troops allegedly dragged Victor Pro, head of Goldmax Corporation, from his suite, still in his nightclothes. Across the city, Jean-Claude Dubois, the CEO of Canadian Western Gold Mining, tried to flee in a convoy heading toward the airport, only to be intercepted at a roadblock before reaching his waiting jet. Meanwhile, at another hotel, Michael Thompson of Pacific Resources, an Australian firm, was discovered frantically moving funds out of the country. His laptop, left open and glowing, supposedly became a key piece of evidence. Anonymous sources suggest that this was no haphazard crackdown. It was a legal ambush, months in the making. According to these accounts, Traore had ordered forensic audits of every foreign mining operation. Investigators, aided by drones, satellite imagery, and informants, uncovered shocking figures. Over $500 billion worth of gold had been extracted in half a century, with as little as $10 billion reaching the state's treasury. Some firms were accused of underreporting production by up to 90%. Sources also suggest that allegedly trials were convened, billion-dollar fines imposed, and life sentences handed down. Assets, like mansions, bank accounts, and private jets, were seized and redistributed to the people. What had once been the stuff of whispered demands for justice had finally come to pass. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. Further, verified sources reveal that this has been in the making for years. And it was not just limited to Burkina Faso or the Sahel region, but the whole of Africa. In July 2024, Burkina Faso passed a sweeping mining code. For decades, contracts had tilted heavily in favor of foreign firms. The new code increased state participation, mandated stricter reporting, and gave the government new levers of control. Less than a year later, in June 2025, the government announced the nationalization of 5 major gold assets, transferring them into a new state-owned company, SOPAMIB. This was not a rumor. It was official. The rules of the game had already been rewritten. Meanwhile, precedents from across the Sahel showed that executives themselves were no longer untouchable. In November 2024, neighboring Mali detained the CEO of Resolute Mining, Terence Holohan, over a high-stakes tax dispute. Only after Resolute agreed to pay $160 million was he released, and shortly after, Holohan resigned. The episode demonstrated that Sahelian governments were now prepared to target individuals at the top. Burkina Faso itself had a precedent too. In 2022, after a tragic flood killed 8 miners at the Percoa zinc mine, a local court convicted 2 Trevali mining executives of involuntary manslaughter. Their sentences were suspended, but the symbolism was striking. Accountability was no longer limited to low-level workers. Finally, in June 2025, Niger stunned the world by nationalizing Somer, a uranium mine operated for decades by France's Orano. Paris reacted with outrage. In Niamey, many celebrated. The resource map of Africa was being redrawn in real time. Together, these events confirm that something profound is underway. The Sahel is no longer content to be a supplier of cheap resources under old contracts. It is asserting sovereignty with increasing boldness. And with these dawn raids at luxury hotels, the story shifts completely, from hesitant actions to direct raids. For decades, villagers near mines have watched trucks haul away wealth while they themselves remained in poverty. Schools crumbled, hospitals lacked medicine, and communities were displaced to make way for projects that enriched shareholders overseas. Allegations of bribery, false invoices, and underreporting are not fantasies. They are well-documented patterns. Traore's public defiance against France, Mali's dramatic detention of a mining CEO, and Niger's audacious uranium nationalization all laid the groundwork. In this context, the idea of billionaires being pulled from luxury hotels in pajamas feels not like fantasy, but like overdue justice. The story resonates because it embodies a reversal of roles. Instead of miners in rags facing police batons, the image is of CEOs in silk robes facing handcuffs. This inversion delivers psychological revenge. It gives shape to a desire that has lived in the hearts of Africans for generations. To see the powerful finally answer for exploitation. What's more interesting is that various sources suggest that the raids on luxury hotels were deliberately kept secret. It was so top secret that even after the arrests and raids, no one, not even the Western leaders and companies, could say what really happened. Now, if this news is made public, it would send shockwaves through markets. The arrest of mining executives would send gold prices soaring. Shares of multinational companies like Barrick Gold, B2 Gold, or Endeavour Mining would collapse. Investors would scramble, and financial centers in London, Toronto, and Sydney would face chaos. France, Canada, and Australia would react instantly. Ambassadors would be recalled. Emergency sessions would be called in Paris and Ottawa. Sanctions would be threatened. The US, too, would weigh in warning of investment risks in Africa. Further, leaders in Guinea, Mali, and Niger, already skeptical of exploitative contracts, might seize the opportunity. The narrative of one African nation daring to arrest foreign CEOs could embolden others. A chain reaction of detentions and nationalizations could sweep across the region. For many Africans, it would be the first time the tables were truly turned. It would signal that Africa was no longer a passive supplier of raw materials, but an active enforcer of justice. For critics, it would raise fears of authoritarianism. Yet whichever interpretation prevailed, the global balance of power in resource extraction would never look the same. And in geopolitics, perception can be as powerful as fact. Boardrooms in Paris, Toronto, and Sydney are not panicking because the dawn raids happened. They are panicking because they might. Fear itself has become Traore's most effective weapon. Now it is to be seen what Ibrahim Traore does next, but one thing is clear: he is not finished. Macron's insult struck at the pride of a continent, and Traore has built his political identity on refusing to bow. For him, this is no longer about one speech in Paris. It is about reversing centuries of imbalance. If the French president truly believes Africans should be thankful for Western help, then Traore intends to show him who depends on whom. Burkina Faso sits on gold, manganese, and other minerals that quietly fuel Europe's industries. The Sahel, together with its allies, holds uranium, oil, and agriculture that feed Western economies. So, Traore's message is straightforward. If Paris and its partners will not respect Africa's sovereignty, then they will learn the cost of arrogance. The possibility of resource embargoes, nationalizations, and coordinated action with Mali and Niger is real. By cutting off the very supplies that keep French lights on and European factories running, Traore seeks to turn the tables. In his vision, it is Macron and the West at large that must finally say the words long overdue. Thank you, Africa. Until that moment, confrontation remains his chosen path. What do you think? Is Ibrahim Traore the man who knows how to put the Western corrupt miners in the place where they belong? Isn't it true that Ibrahim Traore is ending the perception of Western CEOs being untouchable by African laws, no matter what they did? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on what should be done with these Western mining CEOs. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.